Welcome back to the channel. The beta testing for the Root network begins. A merger between Blocktones and the Hume Collective. The Irradiated Buzzies arrive, plus a whole bunch more. This is Into the Futureverse. Now give that like button a bunnies up, and let's get into it. Okay team, let's f***ing go. The Root network beta testing begins in earnest this month. Yes, it's what we've all been waiting for. And shortly after my last episode, this tweet was dropped, confirming the good news. To celebrate Chinese New Year, we're launching a special scene and sound claim on the Root network of Fluff and Party Bear holders. To claim yours, bridge your eligible asset to the Root network and swap out your scene and sound within the given window. Successful claimers will also receive a red packet, with more details to come. Stay tuned. What's in the packet? Quite possibly Root tokens. And who knows, maybe a whole lot more. It would be awesome to see something like the equivalent of a POAP included in the red packet. If you're not familiar with POAP, it stands for Proof of Attendance Protocol and issues one-off NFTs to commemorate your participation at a certain event, kind of like an OG badge of honor. And having a POAP in your wallet for being a Root network beta tester would be pretty cool. It's also been confirmed that the Seeker sacrifice is happening in February, as well as the beginning of the journey for the Muhammad Ali Next Legend characters. You can expect all three exercises to involve bridging across to the Root network. At least that's my expectation. And in a recent podcast with Outlier Ventures, a Web3 incubator who's been assisting the Futureverse, Aaron McDonald shed a little bit more light around the Root token and how we can participate to try and earn some. There was also some speculation around the big brand partners yet to be announced.
Depending on which assets you hold and their rarities and how long and what you've done with them, all of those things will add up to a score that helps affect the way those moments where we release tokens through activities and allow people to get in there and participate and really drive that utility and test that this platform can do the things that we hope that it can do.
Sounds like an airdrop, but
it's not. It's 100% not. I think that airdrops can be problematic, from a regulatory standpoint. The way that we've been approaching this is that we haven't sold any Root tokens to anyone. The only way to get them is to participate in the ecosystem. And the way that works is that if you do stuff, you get rewarded. And the amount you get rewarded is dependent on that score. The score is linked back to your Futureverse account, and it'll affect the way that those different activities are, the score will affect the way that those different activities are awarded. And so everything is being done for work. Almost you could say like proof of work. People are doing activities which are helping us to test and drive the ecosystem forward and being rewarded for it, which is a very different thing from an airdrop. I know it's nuanced, but it's really important.
There's lots of other things that people are excited about, right? Whether it's breeding, whether it's, this, that, and the other. I'm assuming that there's going to be linkage to that roadmap, increased functionality, people engaging with that increased functionality. So is it an ongoing process or a one-off or? Yeah,
there definitely is a mix there of upfront activities that'll happen, earlier on, and then ongoing activities. The idea, like I said earlier, is to reward those who've been with us since the beginning, but also those who've joined us recently. We've seen some community members out there make pretty big collections only in the last 3 to 4 months, and you'd hate to think that those people were disadvantaged because they caught the fever and decided, they saw where the future was going. So it's important that these things balance out over time. We're really excited to get that news out and welcome some more large Web3 communities to the Futureverse shortly as well.
Ooh, I mean that I know what that is. That's a big one.
Yeah, so that's one thing we can kind of talk to today, is that we're all signed up now, I believe, and the first Futureverse Born Ready Root Network Accelerator will be co-run with the team from Outlier Ventures. So we're really proud to be working with Jamie and his team to get out there and start to bootstrap other creators and developers within that ecosystem. There's a fund that is adjacent to that, the Born Ready Venture Fund, which will help to to fund and accelerate those projects that are wanting to build with our content or bring new content to the Root network or a new capability to the Root network.
There's some free alpha too, JB. He's name dropping Shara, and I know Shara's background, her where Shara may have spent some time before before her time with the Futureverse, but it's public info. I'm acting on no inside info, but if you want some insight into what Aaron's saying, go do some LinkedIn research, and maybe things will pop up.
They also announced a new incubation program to help find and incubate new projects launching on the Root network. And it sounds like that Outlier Ventures may have assisted with some of the tokenomics around the Root token, making this interview with their tokenomics expert, Robert Mullins, from earlier in the year rather insightful. Let's take a quick listen of what he had to say around tokenomics in general. It would seem that the Root token has been built around many of these principles.
Now I think there's a higher or more emphasis on providing additional utility to the token. So whether improving the user experience or any other utilities that token can offer the token holder. And this is all around removing or lowering the velocity of the token. So that's essentially how often they change hands. So the stickiness of the token to token holders is what we want and what we're starting to see more of. Governance won't go anywhere. But I also think that the market has wisened up and they want to see additional utility. And if there isn't, it seems to be quite called out on Twitter or something like that, and noticeable that governance is the utility to the token. So bear markets are really good for forcing innovation because these protocols have to adapt to survive essentially. And they've been stress tested through this market period and they have to adapt. Otherwise, unfortunately, they'll sort of fade away.
From some of the more high-profile projects, what have been the big learnings or kind of key innovations that we're kind of seeing emerge in 2022?
Yeah, so I think some key innovations that seem to be very popular is the real yield narrative. So especially amongst DeFi projects, but it's basically from cash flow positive businesses that are generating real revenues and real income to the treasury, and also there seems to be a lot of us on sharing those revenues with the token holders. So this could potentially create some issues with regulatory uncertainty, but it seems to be a narrative that's looked upon favorably by the market. And then beyond that, I think the vote escrow or the locking narrative, where to try and align long-term thinkers with the protocol, you're required to lock your governance tokens, and then that gives you the governance power over the protocol. So rather than someone buying the tokens, staking them, making a decision or extracting some value for the short term, you're incentivized to lock for the long term. And that hopefully will try and bring the right people and the right long-term thinkers to your project.
Been a huge week for the Hume Collective with two major announcements happening in the space of days. First up was the announcement of their merger and acquisition of Blocktones, the AI generative music platform, which is the brainchild of Gino the Ghost. Hume and Blocktones share a vision of pushing the boundaries of the music industry and breaking new ground. With Gino and Mike on board, we're able to push that vision even further. This partnership will push Hume forward in three distinct areas. It will further their ability to become a home for virtual artists, will allow Hume to more effectively partner with artists and major music companies, and bring Gino directly into their A&R process to help develop more music. As more virtual artists proliferate, you'll have people with great 3D animation skills, or people who are incredible songwriters that want to create virtual artists, but are not able to produce music. This will play out as a virtual artist quickly buying a beat, downloading the stems, and using that as a foundational tool to write songs. Blocktones will empower future virtual artists to do just that, and Hume wants to be a leader in pushing that forward. Blocktones will increase Hume's visibility to songwriters, artists, producers, and a diverse range of music companies. This will generate new creative and business opportunities for Hume and our metastars. The through line here is that music creators the world over will be able to leverage the IP tracks created by Gino and his team at Blocktones, mix their own music, and if worthy, incubate their own metastar through the channels and networking of the Hume Collective. So more organic, community-curated metastars may start to appear. It's going to be awesome to see how all this comes together, and if there's any direct crossover with the Futureverse ecosystem. Aaron has hinted that there's at least 2 more Web3 projects that will form part of the roll-up. Maybe it's the Hume Collective and Blocktones, with music being one of the key markets that the Futureverse is trying to lean into. And shortly after this, the Hume Collective had another major announcement to make. Their collaboration with CAA, the Creative Artist Agency.
My name is Ryan Miller. I'm working at Creative Artists Agency, and I'm an executive in our brand consulting department. We are a sports and entertainment agency. It started off as a talent agency, but have evolved over the past few decades. On the brand consulting side, we represent brands that have partnerships in major sports and entertainment events.
We represent Beyonce and Justin Bieber. It's worth noting that Justin Bieber's manager, Scooter Braun, is on the board at Raised in Space, the venture fund and studio founded by none other than Shara Senderoff, co-founder of the Futureverse. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. Hume and their growing roster of metastars will now be represented by one of the world's leading entertainment and sporting agencies. This will further help incubate and guide the new metastars to come out of the collaboration with Blocktones and their wider communities, truly empowering new music creators the world over. Here's a nice image of how the collaboration's going, with Angel Baby hard at work and Gino doom-scrolling Twitter in the background. Keep up the great work, Gino. Next up, we have the launch of the first drop through MNTGE, with Sean Wotherspoon's collection dropping in just a few days' time. Here's some of the finer details you need to be across. Beginning on the 7th of February, 1,500 Sean Wotherspoon trunks will be available for public sale. MNTGE pass holders have the first right to make a purchase. This is on top of the free mint of another 1,600 trunks that will be available the next day as a free mint to pass holders. So depending on the demand, it is possible that this sells out before it gets to the public lottery stage. There is only a 2-hour window for that to happen though, between 1 and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 7th. The mint cost, however, is still yet to be determined, and any trunks that fail to sell out or be claimed will be returned to the MNTGE vault. The timing of this launch feels pretty good though, with the Doodles wearable line launching recently and fetching some pretty stunning prices. I think high-end digital collectible clothing will be quite sought after by some of the whales and holders of the high-value NFTs moving forward, as they want to individualize their high-value profile picture NFTs with high-value and sought-after wearables. It only makes sense, and digital fashion still feels like a rather untapped area for growth, especially as more collections become immersive 3D avatars. The next Buzzy family has arrived and has been well received by the community. The Irradiated Buzzies are now here, and they look fantastic, and their glitchy animations are a nice point of difference to the Desert Buzzies. We can expect the final 3 families to reveal soon. The detail of the Buzzies is stunning, so well done to Jesse and the Non-Fungible Labs team for all their hard work. The ATEM Car Club had a live Twitch stream with a marble race to randomly reward participants of their arcade game, which is part of the ATEM Garage demo. But there was also plenty of alpha dropped during the stream, including some details around the track mechanics.
These questions are from LV50. Can there be a discussion around the track pieces we get with each card?
So one of the things that we're developing is a build your own track for the game technology. Tracks are, we're building a modular technology for the track so that you can have parts of a track and put them together to make the track you're looking for. Needless to say, that's exciting because the idea of replicating your favorite racetrack around the world, or just getting creative and creating something absolutely amazing, is out there. By people creating and then publishing these tracks, they actually own a piece of the in-game content that everyone gets to play with. You're actually building real estate in the game that everyone's actually involved in. I feel teams will want to get involved in. The more resources, the more amazing you can build, right? And the more minds, the more people working together. Everyone who has a membership card will get a claim for some track pieces. More track pieces will become available through gameplay, and as the game progresses, as you progress in the game and stuff like that. So one thing that you're going to want to do as a team is make sure you're registered with the game as your team, because there'll be extra pieces coming out monthly based on your team's points as well. So you're gonna really benefit from having a team and your team being really active and really involved.
These team mechanics sound like a lot of fun.
Also dropped was this stunning car created by the Weta Workshop team. How cool does this look? To get all the alpha, make sure you give it a watch, and the link is in the announcements channel of the ATEM Discord. Alex Smeele was a guest on a Twitter space with Young and Sick, who dropped this open edition NFT to commemorate what was a crazy year for Web3 in 2022. This is an open edition mint, but will have closed by the time this video screens. But holders of 3 of these NFTs will be able to burn them to redeem some physical and digital merch, which is yet to be revealed.
Just one of your weirdest, funnest, happiest, any kind of memory from just like general community and then like specifically Fluff World?
I think South by Southwest ticks all 3 boxes of weird, funny. That was just insane. And actually, obviously, like first time meeting you guys in person, most of the team here are tucked away in New Zealand, so we're not necessarily at all the events and seeing everyone as regularly as everyone else, but just such an incredible event. And I think what I loved the most about South by is that it was not just a crypto event. It wasn't just the same people. It was breaking out a lot broader. There's some really cool activations. Obviously the Doodle guys had a really cool setup there as well, and we had all of our immersive dome set up, and the performance that you put on there was just a masterclass. So that was just so much fun to. I mean, I think for me it was crazy because we had basically been in our office down in New Zealand. Oh, okay, yeah, this is actually real. This is actually happening.
It became very tangible. That's for sure.
Yeah, very tangible.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!